Right, let's get absolutely straight into it. Hello, focus learners, and welcome to the Inner Circle. Today, we are undertaking a completely exhaustive masterclass level deconstruction of a critical area in your Cambridge AS and A-level Accounting 9706 syllabus. We are zooming in squarely on the fundamental structures that drive the entire commercial world, types of business entity. Now, whether you're looking at a sole trader, a partnership, or a limited company, understanding the theoretical foundations and the strict procedural frameworks of these entities is absolutely paramount. It's the bedrock of everything else you'll do. I am beyond thrilled to guide you through this today because, listen to me closely, we are not just going to passively read textbook definitions. No way. We are going to look at this topic purely through the lens of the examiner. I'm going to show you exactly how an examiner's mind works, where the traps are hidden, and precisely how you can engineer your responses to secure those top-tier marks. Think of me as your personal examiner coach, here to hack the syllabus with you. Let's get to work.
Okay, let's dive into this immediately. I want you to look at this number and let it really sink in. 15%. That massive 15%, that is exactly how much weight the types of business entity topic generally carries in Paper 2. Roughly 15% of your total marks hinge entirely on your ability to not just understand, but to actively manipulate, deconstruct, and evaluate information regarding sole traders, partnerships, and limited companies. Think about what 15% means in the grand scheme of things. That is the difference between an average grade and an A star. It's a massive chunk of your grade just waiting to be claimed. And yet, year after year, I see candidates completely fumble it. So that brings us to the million-dollar question. Why do students consistently drop these easy marks? It's incredibly frustrating for examiners to see, honestly. Despite this being a foundational topic, something you cover super early on in your syllabus, candidates constantly fall into the exact same exam traps. They hemorrhage marks on high tariff questions, those big 9 to 15 mark questions, that should frankly be straightforward. Over the years, I've noticed two distinct types of students who fall into these traps. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Now, Alex is highly technical. Alex excels at memorizing formulas and facts, but completely freezes up when the command word is evaluate or to what extent. Alex just lists facts. Then you have Sam. Sam is a creative thinker, great at writing broad arguments, but absolutely struggles with structural precision, timing, and formatting. The problem is, Cambridge doesn't just test your passive memory like Alex relies on, and they don't accept sloppy formatting like Sam produces. They test your precise, active application. Today, we are going to fix both of those mindsets and shift you into an active, strategic, problem-solving machine. So here is our structured roadmap for today's masterclass. First, mastering core principles. Second, the procedural framework. Third, critical analysis strategy. And finally, top examiner warnings.
Section 1, Mastering Core Principles, Building the Foundation.
Look, the theoretical architecture of this entire subject rests heavily on two massive pillars: precise definitions and cross-topic connections. If your foundation here is shaky, all the advanced calculations in the world won't save your grade. What's really interesting is how strongly the principal examiner reports emphasize this exact point every single year. You absolutely must define your terminology clearly before you attempt to evaluate it in extended responses. Let's think about our student Alex for a second. If an essay question asks you to evaluate the transition from a sole trader to a limited company, Alex will just jump straight into listing the pros and cons. Wrong. You must establish the distinct legal and operational structures first. You have to deeply understand the command words. Analyze means unpacking the components, but evaluate means weighing them up and making a judgment based on those distinct legal definitions. Furthermore, candidates who explicitly reference cross-topic connections showing exactly how these entity structures impact things like capital accounts or equity are the ones who unlock the highest marking bands. To consistently get those top marks, your response literally has to hit all three of these target cognitive domains. The assessment framework for accounting 9706 heavily prioritizes analytical depth over superficial breadth. Let's break this down. First, you need knowledge and understanding. That's assessment objective 1, or AO1, just to state the cold hard facts. Second, you need analysis, AO2, to show how those facts interact with the specific data provided in the exam stimulus material. And finally, evaluation, AO3, to weigh the outcomes and make a judgment. This is where Alex and Sam both fail if they aren't careful. Alex gets stuck in AO1, just dumping knowledge onto the page. Sam tries to jump straight to AO3, evaluating without doing the hard analytical groundwork in AO2. Successful candidates demonstrate a robust, evidence-based competence across all three of these distinct domains, seamlessly linking them together. If you merely list 10 facts without analyzing or evaluating them, you are capped at the lowest possible marking bands, no exceptions.
Section 2. The procedural framework, the method marks strategy. This right here is where we transition from theoretical definitions into the actual gritty mechanics of solving a problem under intense exam pressure. If there is literally one crucial concept I want you to remember from today's entire masterclass, it is this. Accounting isn't just about perfectly calculating the final number. I know, it sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Yes, obviously absolute accuracy is the goal, but a massive portion of your grade comes from the method mark strategy. Marks are awarded for the systematic process. Let's say you're doing a complex partnership appropriation account. If you make a minor, silly arithmetic error early on, maybe you calculate interest on capital wrong, but you apply the correct principles and formulas to that flawed number throughout the rest of your answer, you can still pick up the vast majority of the essential marks. How? Because of your clear working out. The examiner can see your logic, and they will reward you for it. Method marks are your ultimate safety net.
To secure every single one of those method marks, you need a standardized, bulletproof sequence. Let's walk through it. Step 1. Extract relevant data. Deconstruct the question and pull only what matters from the stimulus materials. Step 2. Select your analytical framework. Ask yourself, which specific principles apply to this business entity? Step 3. Execute with clear notation. Write it out step by step so the examiner can actually see your brain working on the page. And step 4, verify your results. Run a quick mental reasonableness check. This cognitive modeling is exactly what an examiner is looking for when they review your script. Now, before we jump into the next slide where we tackle a major roadblock I see candidates hit all the time, let's take a quick timeout. If you are serious about mastering these Cambridge exams and want more elite strategies like the ones we're covering right now, I need you to hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels at acetheexam_IGCSE. Turn on all notifications so you never miss a weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategy. We are dropping high-level exam hacks constantly, and you want to be the first to get them. Okay, let's get back to it and crush this next section.
So the crucial point we hit right after our 4-step sequence is this. Your practical application must strictly adhere to these presentation conventions. This is a huge roadblock, especially for our creative thinker, Sam. Sam loves to rush through the structure to get to the argument. But listen, proper headings on your statements, using correct formal accounting terminology rather than colloquial language, applying appropriate financial formats, and providing clear annotations, these are non-negotiable. Developing these professional skills isn't just about making your paper look pretty for the examiner, it is a literal, heavily penalized requirement of the syllabus. If you and your study partner are drafting an answer and you realize you've just written income instead of revenue, or your partnership appropriation account lacks a proper date heading, stop. Rewind. Fix it immediately. Examiners will absolutely dock marks if you ignore these formatting conventions, no matter how brilliant your final calculation is. Section 3, Critical Analysis Strategy. Deconstruct to evaluate.
All right, take a deep breath because we are now entering the highest tier of skill section of the entire exam. This is how you unlock those elusive top-tier marking bands on those intimidating extended response questions. When faced with a complex scenario, you must utilize this 5-step deconstruct, solve, evaluate framework. Step 1, identify the given information. Step 2, break the problem into logical, manageable steps. Step 3, solve it systematically, securing those method marks we just talked about. Step 4, check your numbers for reasonableness. And finally, step 5, and this is the absolute most important part, make justified recommendations. That 5th step is your golden ticket. The higher order assessment objectives in the Cambridge syllabus demand that you don't just solve the math. You must offer recommendations that are explicitly justified by the evidence-based reasoning you've just mapped out in steps 1 through 4.
I want to run a quick interactive workshop with you right now. Let's compare these two types of responses directly, because spotting the flaw here is a game changer. Imagine reading a student's answer, maybe it's our friend Alex, and it reads, a limited company has limited liability, but a sole trader has unlimited liability. Okay, spot the flaw. What's wrong with it? Well, it's purely descriptive. It just states facts, it's technically true, but it's incredibly basic and won't score highly. Now let's look at an evaluative response. An evaluative response compares approaches, evaluates alternatives based on the specific scenario given, and provides a justified recommendation. A top-tier evaluative answer sounds like this. Because this specific business plans to take out a massive loan for expansion, the unlimited liability of the current sole trader structure poses a severe personal financial risk. Therefore, transitioning to a limited company is highly recommended to protect personal assets despite the additional regulatory formats required. Do you see the profound difference there? We took the theory, applied it to the specific loan expansion context, weighed the pros and cons, and made a firm, justified recommendation. That, my friends, is exactly how you secure top marks.
Section 4, Top Examiner Warnings, the Insider Lens.
We are going to break down the fourth wall right now and look directly at what Cambridge principal examiners are officially reporting about student performance in this exact topic. Let's move to this quote and see how everything we've discussed builds to this point. This is the ultimate insider warning, pulled straight from the source. Candidates consistently confuse key terminology. Always define terms before using them in extended responses. This isn't just a suggestion, it's a mandate. The absolute necessity of absolute clarity cannot be overstated. If you are comparing a partnership to a limited company, but you mix up the terms for their respective capital structures, maybe you talk about shares in a partnership, the examiner immediately knows you lack a fundamental grasp of the core principles. And honestly, it doesn't matter how good your math is at that point, you've already lost their confidence. Define your terms first every single time.
Synthesizing all of this, let's look closely at the top 3 traps where students absolutely hemorrhage marks on exam day. Consider this your final review checklist. Number 1, forgetting to include the proper format. These are literally the easiest marks on the paper, and candidates throw them away by being rushed and sloppy. Number 2, failing to check that format and presentation against standard conventions. And number 3, which is arguably the most incredibly frustrating thing for examiners to read, providing generic answers that are not specific to the context given in the stimulus material. If the exam question is about a local bakery run by 2 partners, your evaluation must mention the bakery context. Don't just recite a generic textbook list of partnership advantages. Apply it to the bakery's cash flow, their local market, their specific partnership agreement. Context is king. Now, to help you avoid these exact tropes and really lock down these complex definitions and procedural sequences, you should be utilizing memory hacks. The examiners themselves note that a brilliant practical strategy is to create a personalized mnemonic using the first letters of key terms or formatting steps. Having a mental checklist that you can instantly recall during the high-pressure environment of an exam ensures you don't skip the proper headings, and it guarantees you remember to define your terms before evaluating. Build your own acronyms for the steps we covered today. It sounds simple, but it is incredibly effective when the clock is ticking down.
And all of this brilliantly illustrates the core challenge of this topic, leaving us with a critical, provocative question to ponder as we wrap up. Are you just memorizing the numbers, or are you ready to evaluate like an examiner? Because the next time you sit down with a practice paper, I want you to apply this entire deconstruction strategy we've built today. Stop rushing to the final calculation. Take a breath. Define your terms, follow the strict presentation conventions, scoop up every single method mark available by showing you're working out, and always, always ground your final recommendations in the specific context of the question. You have the strategy now. It's time to put it to work. If this masterclass completely changed how you look at accounting 9706, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCS O and A levels at acetheexam_IGCSE. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a future exam hack. And right now, jump into the comments and tell me your target grade. Claim it, work for it, and master the syllabus. I'll see you in the next one.